Right, good morning. Welcome to this week's assembly. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter assembly because you're going to have to do lots of thinking afterwards. So, we have got something a little bit different coming up next week because we are not going to be doing our usual home learning, and in school we're going to be doing some different activities as well. And that's because next week is all about looking after ourselves and the people that we love. So, I wanted to show you something this morning. I wanted to show you my bucket. Now, you're going to have to use your imagination this morning, and that's because I'm going to tell you all about how you can fill up somebody else's bucket. So, everybody has a bucket. You can't see it, but I've got a real one here to help you imagine it in your head. So imagine that everyone has got a bucket, and that bucket is full of gems. So I've got here lots of gems that I have borrowed from year one this morning, and those make you feel good. The more gems you've got in the bucket, the better you feel. So how do you think you get those gems? Well, you don't dig for them, you don't buy them in the shops, you don't bake them, you don't catch them as they fall out of the sky. How you get a gem is when somebody does something or says something kind or nice to you, you get a new gem in your bucket. So imagine I was sat in the staff room and I was feeling very tired, just like I am today. And in walked Mrs. James, and she said, "Good morning, Mrs. Ford. How are you today?" I said, "Oh, I'm a little bit tired." And Mrs. James might say to me, "Do you know what, Mrs. Ford? Would you like me to make you a cup of tea?" "Oh, yes, please," I'd say to her. And when Mrs. James's great kind thought comes into my brain, I would get a new gem in my bucket. And then imagine that I walk round the one-way system and I stick my head into bubble one. And I say, "Hello, Miss Cross." And Miss Cross says to me, "Oh, Mrs. Ford, I wanted to say thank you very much for sending in some flowers for the children to plant." And I'd say, "That's okay." And I get a big smile on my face. And I would end up with another gem in my bucket. And maybe when someone smiles at me later on, I get another gem in my bucket. And maybe if someone sends me a happy email or waves as they see me, I get another gem in my bucket. And every time you're kind to someone, you put gems in their bucket. Now, you can't see anyone's bucket, but I promise you, every person has got one. Now, that's all the things that fill a bucket up. But the gems in your bucket can disappear as well. So imagine that you get up one morning and you have an argument with your brother, and your brother says, "That's it, I'm not going to play with you later." One of your gems would come out of your bucket. And then imagine you go to school and you walk into your bubble door, or you are playing at home and someone says to you, "Be quiet, you're being far too noisy," and you feel a little bit sad. You'd lose another gem out of your bucket. Now, the sad thing is that some people's buckets, they haven't got many gems in at all. I'm going to take some out. So some people's buckets might be a bit empty, and other people are really lucky and they might start their day with a bucket with loads and 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 even more. Oh my goodness, and more and more. Some people start their day with a bucket that's almost completely full. But the thing is, we can't really see other people's buckets. We don't know if our brother or our sister, our mum, our dad, our teacher, our friend in our bubble, has got an empty bucket or a full bucket. So, if we know that a full bucket makes you feel good and an empty bucket makes you feel really sad, I wonder what we can do this week to help fill up other people's buckets. So the activities that we're sending home are all things that you can have a go with your family. And if you're in school, they're things that you can join in with your bubble. And the idea is that by the end of next week, we are going to have a whole load of children and grown-ups in our community who've all got really full buckets. But remember, you can't see someone's bucket, but every kind thing you do will put another gem inside. Good luck.